What's going on, everyone? Thanks for clicking on this video. Today we're going to do an overview on the ZF bike from GForce. This is the companion bike to the ZM bike, but this one's a little bit more accessible with the lower step-through height. And the plan for today is I'll walk us through the bike front to back and show you all the pieces and parts up close. We won't get too overly detailed though, but then I'll do a ride on the bike and talk to you about the ride experience on the ZF. And then at the end, I've got some, I think, good information broken out into some categories. We'll go over that and maybe help you to decide if the ZF bike is one you want to consider. So let's get going. All right, folks, let's talk about the ZF bike from GForce. Moped style e-bike with 20x4 fat tires. And it comes in two different versions, and the versions are just based on the battery size. So you can get one with a 13.5 amp hour battery pack or one with a 20 amp hour battery pack. And I checked the website this morning, there was only $100 difference between the two. So I don't know why you wouldn't just go with the larger battery pack for just $100 difference. That's a big difference in battery size as well. And you're probably gonna need it on a moped style bike like this where you're gonna be using the throttle a lot. And this bike's coming in right around that $1,800 to $1,900 price point at the moment. But let's take a quick walk around so you can see some of the parts up close. We've got mag wheels instead of spoke wheels, and they actually say Bafang on them as well. It's a through axle that goes through there. It's not a quick release front wheel. It has hydraulic disc brakes on it. They're smaller disc than you usually see on an e-bike. They're 160 millimeter, but man, they work amazing. It's Ronglin is the brand that says on there. I'll get a close up for you. They work great. I haven't been able to figure out why. I'm thinking it might be a dual piston in the caliper. Maybe that's why they're so good. So instead of just one side of the caliper squeezing, it's both sides squeezing, and that's why it has such great grip. I'm not sure, but the brakes are fantastic on this bike. It does come with fenders included. They're plastic fenders. You've got front suspension fork as well that is adjustable. Got the knobs up here for preload and lockout. It has an amazing headlight. It is the brightest headlight I've ever had on an e-bike. It's borderline motorcycle headlight on there. It looks amazing and it is crazy bright. You're gonna have no trouble riding this thing at night. It's just amazing how bright that thing is. I wish I could buy that and put it on other bikes. And I actually thought about doing that, but I unplugged it right here to see what the plug looked like. And it's a 3-prong plug instead of a 2-prong. So we can't just plug that into another e-bike. You gotta have a plug that's 3-prong. And I think it's that way because the horn is also built into the back of the headlight. So that's probably why it has the different pins in there. So probably not easy to swap on any other bikes, but man, is it awesome on this bike. It makes it look really cool too. And GForce has got the wires wrapped all nice and neat inside this fabric right here. If you need access, you can just unzip it like that, but not a bad look. I don't mind that at all. It's got the tiniest little BMX bars like I've seen on a bike, but they're about 25 inches wide from end to end. But I didn't really have any issue with the handling. It seemed to handle well. Spin around to this side, take a look at the cockpit. Over here, round rubber grips, twist throttle on this bike. 7-speed mechanical gears. You got a horn down here. Your display screen, let me turn it on. You just hold the I key. Color display right there for you. Very colorful. It's not too bad to see in the light. In direct sunlight, it is a little bit harder to see just because it is a black background. I do have the display turned all the way up on the brightness as well. But I mean, it's a good looking display, very colorful. Your menu buttons are over here on this side. I think that's all that's going on up here. You want to hear the horn? It's very loud. I prefer the bell because this kind of, it gets people's attention, I'll tell you that, but it's more, I think, for the streets than it is for a bike path. But that's probably where you're gonna be riding this bike. It is the moped style, so you're probably gonna be riding this more around town on the streets. I don't know if it's really one you're gonna be taking to the bike trails and bike paths a lot, although it is a class 3, you can make it class 2 or class 3 e-bike. So it's considered, at least where I live, being a 750 watt e-bike. It's, it's an electric assist bicycle. And in theory, you can ride this anywhere you're allowed to ride a bicycle. But I'll say don't blindly follow my guidance. Check your local laws. Inside the frame right here is where your battery pack is hiding. This is the 20 amp hour battery pack version. You put the key in the other side, twist this little lever right here, and then the battery will drop out the front. And let's see, I'll put the gearing on the screen. I don't know it off the top of my head. I think it's probably 1428 in the back. I'm not sure what the front is, but it does have double-sided plastic chain guard on there. I'm seeing this more and more on e-bikes where they've got this big thing down here. I don't know what you want to call it. The bottom bracket, I guess. But it's this large open area. That's where they hide all the controllers and wires and everything. So inside here is where your controller is. You open this up, take these screws out, and that's where all the wiring and controller. I did open it up and look. It is a 22 amp max current on the controller. So in combination with your 48 volt battery, that means you're going to be around 1,000 watts on this bike. But we'll talk more about the power and performance in the ride portion of the video. But you know, around town on the flat ground, it's actually pretty fast. It does struggle a little bit on the hills though. Now, if we step back and just look at this overall frame design, I mean, it's pretty cool frame design. I have not seen this style before. This whole area is very interesting to me. I'm not sure why they chose to raise this up here. There's all this empty space under here. I almost kind of wish they would put this seat on a hinge where you could just flop it that way and just have like a storage compartment under here. If they're going to leave this, you know, it's like probably 4 or 5 inches of empty space under there. And that being up there like that, I mean, it does raise the seat height on this bike up a decent amount. It's a 33-inch seat height. So you got to be probably at least 5'5" to ride this with your feet comfortably flat on the ground. This rear suspension's amazing. The seat, back to that real quick, it feels a little softer than the ZM bike that I was on. I don't know, it's identically looks the same, but it does feel a little softer. I don't know if that's all in my head or if they changed the foam in it, but what makes it really soft is these guys. There's one on each side, dual rear shocks, and it is a dream to ride this. I mean, the suspension is awesome, very comfortable ride. And it looks like these shocks might even be adjustable. I can see some threads in there where you might be able to twist this up and make it a little stiffer if you wanted. But for me, at about 175 pounds, it rode very nice. I'm not going to change anything. And of course, hiding here in the rear wheel is where your hub motor is, 750 watt hub motor. Here's a look at the taillight. Let me turn it on for you. Actually, you just hold the up arrow for a few seconds. It should come on. There's a little indicator. And it is a taillight. Very cool looking. I like it. It's not a brake light though. If you pull the brake lever, it doesn't get any brighter or nothing else lights up. So taillight only, no brake light. I really wish they'd add a brake light feature to it. And here's the headlight. Just, I mean, even in full daylight, look how bright that thing is. It's awesome. Love the headlight on this thing. But let's take this thing for a spin now, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what it's like riding this bike. All right, out riding the ZF bike. What can I tell you about the ZF? I mean, it's a comfortable ride position. My hands feel like they're high enough. The seat's pretty soft. The dual suspension in the back is amazing. We can test it right here on this speed bump. It just absorbs everything. You don't even have to get off the seat. It just, I mean, I didn't even feel that speed bump. It just soaks up all the bumps. That's probably one of the standout features on this bike, is that suspension. But steering wise, I mean, everything feels good there. I feel like I have good control over the front end. Like I said, I feel like my hands are high enough. I don't need to raise these up any higher. Seating position for pedaling, I mean, it's a moped style bike. So the pedaling you're gonna probably do is just like this. You're just kind of casually pedaling along. I don't really need full leg extension to put a lot into the pedals. I'm just gonna mostly be, you know, using the throttle when I need more power. Now with regard to the power, I'm in pedal assist 1 right now. That takes you up to about 7 miles an hour. Pedal assist 2 goes up to about 11. Feel it cut out about 11 and a half. But if you need extra boost, you got the throttle right here. So you have full power in the throttle available at all times. So you don't have to keep hitting the buttons up and down to get all the power out of it. I like that about it. Not every bike is like that. Some of the bikes, you only get full power when you're in pedal assist 5. This one, you get full power out of the throttle all the time. Doesn't matter what pedal assist you're in. So I like that about it. Another thing about the throttle is that you have automatic cruise control. So if I hold the throttle wide open here for a little bit, it'll automatically kick into cruise and hold that setting, which I'm not a crazy big fan of, but maybe some people will like that. So if I let go, we just keep going. It's automatically into cruise. Just tap the brakes to cancel it, but I find myself doing that a lot where I'm throttling and then I see I'm approaching an intersection or whatever, and I back off the throttle and have to remember to cancel because I'm in cruise. And there's no way to really turn that off that I found yet. You just have automatic cruise all the time. If you hold it for, I don't know if it's 5 or 8 seconds. You gotta hold it for a little bit before it kicks in, but that's there. The other thing is there's a delay in the throttle, which you can correct. I'll show you how to do it, and it seems to get longer of a delay the faster you're going. So I don't know if that's programmed in there like that or what, but if I'm at a stop and I hit the throttle, it's pretty immediate that it kicks in and starts going. If I'm at any kind of speed, so let's see, right now I'm about 15 miles an hour. If I now hit the throttle, it's got like a full 2-second delay before the thing will kick in. Can you hear it? Ready? 1001, 1002, 1000, almost like 2.5 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 3 seconds there. It's like the faster you go, the longer the delay in the throttle gets. But we can fix that on the P12 setting in the display. Change it from 3 to 5. That's what I've heard. So you can see it's got quite a bit of delay now. Holy cow. I'm not a big fan of the delay. When I twist the throttle, I want the throttle working. I want power instantly. So let's pop in the display and see if this little fix works. Let's hold up and down for a little bit. And we're going to use the I key and just toggle through until we get to setting P12. There it is. It's on 3. We're going to change it to 5. And that should eliminate the delay in the throttle. We'll find out. Go back out. All right, let's give it a shot. So if I get up to some decent speed, get going, oh, I can already feel it. So 15 miles an hour, well, oh, it's instant. Yep, delay is gone. 1,000, I can't even count to 1. It's there immediately. So there you go, problem fixed. If you don't like the delay in the throttle, you can program that out and get immediate throttle. And this bike has got some really good throttle power on level ground on the flats. I was on a side street the other night doing all my testing, and I ran it up to top speed throttle only, and it was cooking. It was up to 31 miles an hour on throttle only going down the street. I was shocked that it was able to go that fast. Throttle only 31 miles an hour. That's really good. On the hill climb though is where it bogs down. It struggles on the steeper hills. As long as you're gonna pedal going up a hill, you're gonna be fine. But if you're gonna ask the bike to go up a hill throttle power only, the bike's gonna struggle. I took it up my hill climb test. I mean, it wasn't gonna make it throttle only. I had to pedal at the end to get it up the rest of the hill. It's not hard to get up hills. You just have to help the bike a little bit. So that's, you know, it's, if you're in a level spot, you know, you don't have many hills around you, this thing's gonna be awesome. Like where I live, there's not a whole lot of hills at all. It's pretty flat. If you live in a really hilly area, well, this might not be the bike for that. It's gonna struggle on the hills. But I've enjoyed riding this thing around town. It is a heavy bike, but you don't really notice the weight riding it. I mean, the weight only comes into play if you're trying to lift this into a truck or a car or onto a bike rack or maneuver it around in your garage or something like that, where you're lifting it. Yeah, it's a really heavy bike, but around town you don't really notice the weight on it at all. Another thing about the maneuverability I noticed was it has the double crown forks on it that come up real high. I'll jump off here really quick and show you. The ZM bike had this as well, but these right here. So they come up real tall, and you can see you got these little stoppers right here to keep the fork from hitting the frame. But that also limits your turning radius. You can only turn the wheel so far before those rubber stoppers hit. So it limits the turning radius just slightly. It's not really, I mean, I'm nitpicking here, but I just noticed it when I was trying to turn the bike around in the garage. I couldn't cut the wheel as sharp as I could with just, you know, like a regular bike. And again, these brakes are awesome. Let me do a brake test for you here. We'll spin around and we'll get going like down this hill at a good clip. And I'll crush the brakes and you can see what happens. But they're really powerful for being just 60 millimeter disc on there. So we're going 20. Let's just run this baby up to speed. 25, 26, 7, 28, 29. We're motoring. All right, brake check. The back end was fishtailing out on me. But they're smooth, they're powerful, they're quiet, they don't like rub or squeal or make noise. I just really like these brakes on this bike. They work well. But you can lock up the back wheel anytime you want. Ooh, we left a nice mark there. All right, that's enough fun with brakes. What else? I think that's about all on ride experience. I mean, I've really enjoyed riding this thing around town. I will note that there are no racks or mounting points of any kind on this bike to put a bag or basket or anything. So if you're gonna be carrying a lot of stuff with you, like I'm wearing a backpack right now with all my camera gear in it, because there's really nowhere else to put it on this bike. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for something that can carry a lot of cargo, this one doesn't really carry a whole lot of cargo. But let's head back somewhere quiet, and I'll go over some of the key points or key categories that I want to give you some information on. The street I was going to go down is blocked, so there's no other way around other than going like a 45-mile-an-hour road, which I don't want to do. So we're gonna off-road down this sewer line till we can find a way around. But it can do it. I mean, it's doing it. I guess if you had to take it off-road, it'd be all right. I just dropped it into a low gear, mechanical gear, so I can pedal and help it when needed. But yeah, we're doing it. I don't know how far this goes. Whoa, big dip right here. I've had to jump over trees and logs, roots, sticks. It's blazing right along, cutting its own trail. I'm just gonna follow it the whole way to the end. Since I was gonna try to cut through the woods and find an actual trail, but this works just fine. One time only. Oh, get a little squishy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no problem. Maybe this is an off-road bike. It's doing way better than I thought it was gonna do. There you go, we made it. All right, found a nice little quiet spot here on the Greenway to give you some more info on the ZF bike from GForce. But what do you think so far? Drop it in the comments, let GForce know. I think if you're looking for a moped style bike to jitney around town, definitely one you could consider. But here's the info I've got for you. I got it broken out into some categories. Key specifications, things to know, standout features. Let's start with some key specs that I haven't gone over yet. Seat height, 33 inches. Ground to top of seat, 33 inches. That's 5'5" or taller. That's what they say on the website, and I would agree, that is accurate. You need to be probably 5'5" to get your feet down comfortably, flat on the ground. My wife is 5'3". She sat on this bike. She was tippy-toeing it. It was a little bit too tall for her. So I think that's accurate on the website. 5'5" or taller is probably gonna be a good height for this bike. The step through height right here, it's a little over 19 inches to the top of that. So about 20 inches to get your foot through the step through. Gives you an idea how tall that is. Payload capacity, 400 pounds. That's a lot. So you can put up to 400 pounds on this bike. And the bike itself weighs 99 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot more than they say on the website, but I've got it here in front of me. And when I step on the scale with this thing with the battery in it, ready to ride, 99 pounds. Very heavy e-bike. All right, now let's talk about standout features. Here's the ones for me that really stand out. The rear suspension, again, that's really nice and soft rear suspension with the double springs on there. I really like that. That was a standout feature. You got front suspension too, so this thing takes bumps really well. The brakes are awesome. I love these Ronglin, I guess is how you say it. They work really well. No problem with braking power. This is one of the strongest braking bikes that I've been on. The ZM bike from GForce had those same brakes and I loved them. I love them again on this bike. They're quiet, they're smooth, and they're powerful. Brakes was a big standout feature for me. Top speed, 31 miles an hour on the flat ground. That's a standout. I mean, wow. They say it goes up to 28 on the website, and actually I got it to 31. I weigh 175 pounds. If you're lighter, you might even go faster than that. But great top speed out of this bike. And of course the headlight. You know, I love that really, really bright, cool looking headlight. That was a standout feature for me. All right, now let's talk about things to know. What do you need to know? Here's what I think you need to know. Number one is the automatic cruise control. Don't forget that automatically kicks in. There's really not a way to turn it off. It's just always there. If you hold the throttle wide open for a while, it's gonna kick it into cruise control. So know that. The throttle delay, it comes set with that delay in the throttle, but I showed you how to change it. Change setting P12 from 3 to 5, and it'll get rid of that delay in the throttle. So no issue there. You can program that out if you don't like it. The weight, that's something to know. That's a very heavy bike at 99 pounds. This is one I feel people are just gonna put in their garage and ride it around like a little moped scooter and take it for a ride, park it back in the garage. I don't really see someone buying this one to haul it around on a bike rack or haul it around their truck or car and go to bike trails with it. It's really just kind of like a electric moped you're gonna keep parked in the garage because that weight is pretty darn heavy. The hill climb power, it struggles a little bit on the hills. I mean, know that if you live in a really hilly area, this thing, you're gonna have to help it. You're gonna have to pedal and help this bike up the hills, utilize those mechanical gears. give it some assistance going up the hills. As long as you pedal, it's fine. It'll conquer any hill, but it doesn't have that down low torquey power in the motor. This thing's great on the level ground, on the flat ground around town. It's really zippy, really fun, really fast, but it's gonna struggle a little bit on steep hills. Another thing to remember is this seat. 33-inch seat height, and it is not adjustable. So if you can't handle 33-inch seat height, maybe this isn't the one for you. And the last thing I'll say is there's no mounting brackets for racks. Nothing here on the front, and there's nothing here on the back either, anywhere to put a rear rack or bag or anything. So if you want a bike that's got a lot of cargo carrying capacity, this one doesn't really have that. You'd have to be creative with how you maybe mount a basket on the handlebars up here, up high. Other than that, there's really not a spot to put any cargo with you. All right, folks, that's all the info I got for you today on the ZF bike from GForce. Hope you found that helpful. If I missed something, put in the comments. I'll do my best to answer, and I will, of course, put a link to this bike in the description below so you can find it easily. It's just a link. I don't get anything if you buy one. I'm just here to give you information. Hope you found that information helpful. If you did, consider hitting subscribe, checking out more content from Citizen Cycle, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks.